Life is noisy, messy, and full of struggle. And if you're feeling the weight of it all, you're not alone. Join Donnie Lafferty, founder of One Pastor Ministries, as he helps us navigate lasting faith in the middle of this crazy life. Because in a world full of distractions and empty promises, there is one who never fails. Jesus, our one pastor. Let's tune out the noise with One Pastor Podcast.
Hi everyone, Donnie Lafferty. It's so good to be with you for episode 51 of One Pastor Podcast. At the Crossroads, hearing God and taking the next step. It's been a busy week for me. I'm sure you guys have had plenty going on, but this week I was able to speak to a number of colleges, and part of the message I talked about the should-bes. The should-bes. You know, we in life certainly have plenty that happens, and the way that it goes down for us in life is not necessarily the way that we thought that it would or the way that it should be. So what should have happened that did not? How should this have turned out, or what should have transpired that didn't go the way that it should have? That's an interesting thing to do in business and in life. And for me personally, I certainly look at my life and think about the should-bes. Have you ever felt like you're standing at the crossroads? You know God's doing something in your life, but you're not exactly sure what your next step is supposed to be. Maybe you're waiting for clarity, or maybe you're waiting for confirmation. Maybe you're just tired of not knowing. Let me ask you this. What if God isn't asking you to figure it all out? What if He's just asking you to take the very next step? I want to talk to you not as a speaker, but as someone walking this out in real time. If you're driving, or if you're sitting at work, if you're laying in bed wondering what God is doing in your life, this is for you. I created OnePastor.com over 10 years ago. And it started as a simple way to encourage pastors and believers. I would write various blogs and provide various resources for studying the Word. I used it as an expression of my own journey of trying to grow closer to the Lord. You know, I wasn't interested in building really a platform and not a brand, just obedience. But life, it didn't slow down. I've worked full-time all these years as a plant manager, as a president of a corporation for over a decade, and now I'm executive director of HR at a college here in Georgia, just to update you guys on me. So yeah, I've been busy. In 2019, my wife passed away. Married 23 years, and we had 2 sons. And they were about 16 and 18 when she passed. And if you've ever lost someone, you know life changes in a moment. And then in 2021, God brought an incredible woman into my life, a widow like me, and we were married. And that meant a new home, a new state, and a whole new chapter for me. And through it all, I've tried to just serve. In the past, in the local church, I love my church now in Villa Rica, First Baptist of Villa Rica. It's fantastic. Previously, I served as a deacon and Sunday school teacher and helping where I could, even as a webmaster for our church previous. But in 2024, I had a heart attack. And I'll tell you something honestly. That moment will wake you up. It did for me. And it was in that season I felt something very clear. Use your voice. Not to build something big, Donnie, but to help hurting people and point all of us back to Jesus, our chief shepherd, our one pastor. And here's what amazes me. People from over 35 countries are now listening. That humbles me. But I've also been asking God something very real. Lord, what do I do with this? Do I keep this as a side ministry? Do I go deeper? Am I doing too much, Lord? Or not enough? And maybe you've asked those questions as well in your own life. I want to share a few things with you, not as announcements, but as stewardship. You are a part of my family as a listener. By God's grace, One Pastor is now officially trademarked, and I've formed an LLC called One Pastor Media. I'm building a way for those who feel led to support this work. And hear me clearly, this is not a nonprofit. Supporting it is not tax deductible, but this is a labor of love. And maybe one day God grows it into something more structured or forms a nonprofit in the future. But right now, I just want to be faithful. So let's go to the question that matters most. What, for you, right where you are, what does God say about knowing what to do next? So number one, trust is greater than understanding. Trust in the Lord with all our heart. Proverbs 3:5-6, we know that verse so well. You know, it doesn't say you'll understand. It says you'll trust. Clarity often follows obedience. So trust. Number two, lamps, not spotlights. Your word is a lamp. Psalm 119:105. A lamp shows the next step, but not the whole path. We often do wish that it'd show the whole way. God gives lamps, not spotlights. Number three, peace is the indicator. Let the peace of Christ rule in Colossians 3:15. Not comfort, not ease, peace. And number four, don't walk alone. Plans fail for lack of counsel. Proverbs 11:14. Invite wise voices. I want to lift up a dear friend, Stu Epperson, who leads the Truth Network. If you don't have the Truth Network app, you are missing out. I have followed Stu in this network for many, many years. Stu and I have been colleagues and worked with Dr. David Jeremiah and others to just bring the word, and it has been a great journey. So check out the Truth Network. If you look up that app, you'll certainly find it. Stu's out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I mentioned Stu because he and others have been great mentors to me as far as hanging in there in ministry in good and bad times, walking through persecution, and not wavering and speaking boldly truth when it's not always easy. And I just appreciate that. So my next moves as far as One Pastor, I want to seek counsel from my pastor, from elders in my own church where I attend. And I've spoken with my wife. I've prayed, obviously, to the Lord. And I appreciate your prayers as I seek this wisdom and this counsel. But for you, I pray for you, friends. Many of you are facing some very big decisions, maybe with your health, your family, your relationships, your finances, your home, your work, whatever it may be. So don't walk alone. Number 4, invite wise voices and wise counsel. Number 5, faithfulness is the goal. You know, it's required to be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4, verse 2. You don't need a big audience. I don't have a big audience with One Pastor podcast. If you take a look at social media, you'll see that I have very few followers. All these years, over 10 years of doing onepastor.com, doing social media, it really didn't resonate with me to grow some big audience. I wanted to have a voice and grow a voice for the Lord, and to share how He works in my life and what He shows me through His Word, and then to just be real about it in my own style. So be faithful. You need a faithful heart. So let me make this simple for you and for myself. For if you don't know what to do next, do this. Stay in the Word. Stay in prayer. Stay faithful exactly where you are. And take the next step that you do know. And here's your action. Before today ends, write down the last thing you know God asked you to do. And take one step toward that. Many of you, if you're honest, that might be you've neglected really talking to Him for real in prayer. Maybe it's getting back into the Word where that has grown stagnant. Often for many of you, it's a step of forgiving someone where there is a divide and there needs to be reconciliation. I don't know where you are and where God has spoken to you, but the other thing is you may have not even been listening to God and listening for God's direction. That's what I'm trying to share with you in this podcast about the overall forwardness of One Pastor Podcast. What's next? God, what is next? I'm excited to see that, and I want Him to direct it. We don't have to be liked. We don't have to be understood. We don't have to be invited or included. We just have to be faithful. You don't have to figure everything out at all. Clarity often follows disobedience, and God gives us lamps, not spotlights. So today, take the next step. If you're at a crossroads right now, take a deep breath. I'll do it with you. Let's go ahead. Breathe in and let it out. I appreciate you listening faithfully and trying to just grow alongside me. Now, you're not alone. God sees you, friends. He sees you. He's leading you, even if it doesn't feel clear yet. Let's stay in the Word. Let's stay in prayer, and let's trust Him to work in His way and in His time. And as always, keep your eyes on Jesus. I want to leave you with something, not a sermon, just a picture. There was a man walking down a long dirt road at sunset. He didn't know exactly where he was going. He just knew he couldn't stay where he was. The road split into two. One path looked very familiar, safe, even predictable. The other road was uncertain and quiet, almost uncomfortable. And he stood there. Not because he didn't believe in God, but because he didn't know what God wanted him to do next. And if we're honest, that's where some of you are right now. So he reached into his pocket, pulled out a small flashlight. Not a spotlight, not something that lit up the whole journey, just enough light. Remember that, friends, just enough light for one step. And for a moment, he hesitated because one step didn't feel like enough. He wanted the whole plan. He wanted certainty. He wanted confirmation. But all he had was enough light for the very next step. And then something shifted, not around him, but in him. And he realized God wasn't asking him to see the whole path. God was asking him to trust the one who made it. So he took one step, and then another, and another. And here's the part I don't want you to miss. That road did not suddenly get easier, and it didn't get clearer all at once. But with every step, his confidence didn't grow in the path, it grew in God. So let me ask you, what's your step? Not your 5-year plan, not your perfect outcome, just your step. Because you don't need a spotlight. God gives lamps, not spotlights. And clarity often follows obedience. If you feel lost right now, if you feel discouraged, those of you wondering if you're even on the right path, listen to me. You're not alone at all. And God's not left you. He's not late, and He's not confused about your life. Take the step. Do it. Trust Him with what you can't see, and keep walking. And as always, keep your eyes on Jesus. Let's have a great week.
Thanks for spending time with us today on the One Pastor Podcast. If something spoke to your heart, we'd love for you to share this episode with someone who could use encouragement in God's truth. And remember, no matter what you're facing, you're not alone. Jesus sees you, knows you, and walks with you every step of the way. Never forget, the Word of God is alive. Donnie Lafferty and all of us at One Pastor Ministries are honored to walk this road with you. So let's stay focused, stay faithful, and keep following the one pastor who never fails, keeping our eyes on Jesus. And hey, join us next week for another episode of One Pastor Podcast, where we keep tuning out the noise and turning our hearts toward what's real. We'll see you then.